Do you think, particularly about this game, with the inclusion of Hamza Choudhury and Famidul, do you think any positivity, or do you think the sort of hype is created, it should be carried on?
Yeah, well, I think like on the back of the draw in India, it's kind of like, well, what will happen next?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Is it a short term jump in performance levels because of the excitement?
Yeah.
And can it be maintained? That's the question. And the big difference, there's a big difference between playing Singapore and India, right?
All right.
In terms of level, but also in terms of the rivalry. And purely, of course, in a football sense, you know, there will always be a bigger rivalry with your closest neighbour.
Yeah.
So I think the game is really interesting, and we won't know until after the game, you know, how it's been received. You know, it could be a really big come down for people. So, you know, if the game doesn't go well, and it's, you know, okay, maybe this is not as easy as just throwing players into a pool of bodies, or it could go really well, and you think, all right, we've got some momentum here.
All right.
Maybe we won't know even after the game. Maybe we have to discuss it again in 1 year or 5 years.
So it's a long-term process. Isn't
I
it?
think everything has to be, you know, really, like a World Cup cycle is 4 years, you know, so it makes sense to judge the cycle of an international team over 2 or 4 years, depending on the competition, right? Rather than 2 friendly games or 1 friendly game, or we use the term green shoots in England. So you want to, when things are new, you want to see green shoots. You want to see something starting to grow. So that would be my idea. But if we're talking about it in 10 years as just being a quick thing that happened, then really it's probably a waste of time.
And some of the people are also saying stuff like that. I mean, players coming out of this country should be introduced with some age-level players as well, so that they get influenced. That, okay, these players are playing at those international levels. So if we follow them, or if we, you know, follow the work ethics of them, then they could be some of the players like them from this country as well. Do you think it's a right approach?
Yeah, look, I think if we're really going to talk about longer term, then getting the players, for example, some of the ones behind us, getting them pathways into higher leagues, especially the best ones, you know what I mean, and exposing them to an environment where they have to stretch themselves time and time again. I think that's the most fruitful part of the whole process.
For example, I mean, you know, Hamza Choudhury, let's say he comes to BKSP, talks to different players, and they also get to listen to some of his stories in Premier League. Would these sort of stories would help him? Yeah,
the stories would help, of course. They will give you a hit of motivation for sure. They would show the boys that it's possible, that somebody like them is as successful as him.
Right.
But I still think then you need to go into that environment and embed in that rather than just like a quick hit.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
It's been a great time with you, and it's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you once again.
No worries.